Yeah. All right. Well, you can actually, if you want to see the list of domains for this week ahead of time, you can go to thedomainsocial.com right now. The list is there. And on that note, that's everything I need to say. So I also want to thank again, now that he's actually here, Mike. Thanks, Mike, for everything, for starting this back in March. I want to say March, mid-March, I think it was.
Yeah. Yep, mid-March. And it's my pleasure. And thank you guys for taking the torch and continuing to run with it and producing these shows. It is a lot of work to produce these, everyone. I just want to point that out. So please do share the love with Arif and Jonathan and Paige and Braden, because, you know, it takes a lot of work to prepare the list, to ready the script, to deliver it. You got to be on. And I'm borderline introvert extrovert, but after 2 hours of like facilitating, I need to go curl up in a ball in bed and just like recuperate. And then there's there's 3 more hours of like getting it onto YouTube and getting into a podcast. And so yeah, well done. Thank you guys for continuing the.
Well, I mean, it was a lot of help from you. And Jonathan behind the scenes, especially the first couple of weeks when I was figuring things out, helped a lot. Paige is there always for his colorful personality, except for he's not there right now. He's just his teddy bear that's sitting in the background.
Arif, just to Michael's point, why don't we do like, why don't you ever think about doing one of those, like, you know, share your coffee kind of things where like, listen, it's not like, listen, send the love, you know, appreciate it. Like, you know, if you want to donate $1, send us a coffee. I'm sure a couple of us domainers would like to, you know, keep this going for as long as possible. And, you know, not like charging us, but, you know, if you want a donation or something, you know, always put that link in the invitation.
You know, for me originally, like until I got on the Michael's socials, I think I got started maybe on the 5th or 6th one before I figured it out. I'd never had a webcam attached to my computer. I used to DJ way back when, but I used to hate getting on the microphone. I was like a club music DJ. I used to beat mix, and getting the microphone for me, I hated it. I always hated my voice. So this for me, I'm getting something out of it, and that I'm kind of learning something new. I have other little projects that I'm working on. This has helped me sort of learn. Last week with Paige was learning under fire. It was producing the first ever the virtual domain conference. It was insane. So all these things I'm learning, and if it comes to a time where we have more than 100 people and I have to spend a couple $100 for the Zoom or whatever it is, then maybe I'll do something. But for now, this particular project for me, I'm getting more used to it. It takes a little bit less time. It's not a problem for that. When there's a shortage of domains at auction, I put a couple extra ones that are mine in there. So bid on those names if you want. But aside from that, that's about it. So yeah, on that note, what's up? On topic. Anybody sell anything this week? Any big news?
Cricket.
I had a sale.
All right, tell us about it.
5starevents.com. I had a $15,000 sale. I had it listed as a buy it now for $19,500. And I kind of like the Safeology. I got a call from an Afternic broker. He said that I had a $10,000 offer. So I tried to meet in the middle, and we closed at $15,000.
Stu, you're a beast.
Very nice. Now, and what's even funnier is I have to ask, was it the number 5 or spelled out?
That's a great question. It was written out. And that makes me think, I only priced it that high because there were a ton of possible end users using that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't think it was that great a name because of the number being 5 or the word, but it worked out this time.
Wow.
Dude, you have these crazy sales. How big of a portfolio do you have?
Right now, it's about 3,500 domains.
Good for you. You're killing it, bro.
Nice.
It's going pretty well right now, but it's inconsistent. I'll have a few weeks without a sale, then I'll get like 3 or 4 in 1 week. It's hit or miss.
I think that's the way it works in sales in general, let alone sales in domains.
Yeah.
Who was that? What was that name? 5-Star Events?
5-Star Events. vegas.com, but it was
Beautiful.
written out. It wasn't the number 5.
Beautiful.
Yeah, it's a great name though. Like, I mean, I used to do event stuff, and you need to have a good name to catch people, and that's a a
And
good
there are
name.
literally probably at least 10 different businesses using that exact name. Some use the number, some use the word, but that's why I priced it that high. I figured
Yeah.
I've only had the name about a year or two, so it
Amazing
was a pretty
sale.
good flip.
What,
What'd you pay for it?
I just looked that up. Actually, it was $525 on TD about 1 year ago.
Nice.
Very cool.
gives me a
On
good
what?
vibe about one I own, which is LasVegasGreatest.com. So maybe similar. Gives me a good vibe anyway.
Plus,
Las Vegas. I didn't hear the rest of it. Las Vegas
Greatest.com.
greatest.
the thing is, you're limited by geography, so less pool of potential buyers.
Mhm.
And with Vegas and Las Vegas, it's very similar. With 5, you can put Vegas or Las Vegas, I noticed. So you almost have to have both to. It's a similar situation with
Mhm.
Vegas and Las Vegas. You have to register both to have it locked up.
Yeah, I'm brokering her name right now, and it's tough. And I also had registered 1 or 2, like 2 weeks before, and thank God they were all available. But then, am I throwing good money after bad or bad money after good? Did I think the first one was good? But yeah, you do need, and I had a whole talk about this with Amar. What are the key words? He lives right there. Vegas, or is it Las Vegas? And then depending on the niche, but yeah, you need to cover all your bases.
I guess you could even go LV too, but that's a bit of a stretch. But Vegas. I like to be in Vegas.
I'm actually going there tomorrow.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
You're not
they
too
got
far,
great
you can drive,
Huh?
right? You're not too far. You can drive away. I think.
3.5, 4 hours depending how fast you're going, but they got the greatest rates right now. They charge you,
Doesn't
they let you
everybody
have
get
2
you on a
nights for
plane?
one. Huh?
Doesn't everybody just get you on a plane, get you to where they want
I
to go?
hate to fly. Are you crazy?
No, but that's what I'm saying. The airlines are bleeding. All the resorts, everyone's bleeding. I booked
Oh, sorry, I
something
misunderstood.
about 2 months ago with my wife, and I'm sure anyone who has any travel ads have seen this. It was like $24.99 for 2 people, 5 days,
What's this?
5 nights, 4 days in Mexico, and you can get it right now for $247.
Kevin.
Because
How long is the quarantine?
Right. No one's in their hotel, but they said you could book anytime in the next 12 months and come anytime in the next 18. So I was like, listen, this is a win-win. They need people there, and listen, I'll give them my $249.
We were supposed to go at the 4th week of August to Hawaii, and I booked the tickets in April, and now we can't go because it's a 14-day quarantine, so the tickets are shot. I don't know if they're gonna let us go some other, we can do it, but it's just a disaster for.
No, you'll get a refund on your tickets.
All right, guys.
Well,
So what I'm going to
yeah,
do is I'm going to just step in and say this is the domain show, right? So domain social. So let's talk about more sales, and we'll save this for 6 o'clock like we did last time. So anybody wants to talk off topic, 6 o'clock, I'm there. I get my next drink, and we're good to go. So anybody else make a sale this week?
I did.
All right, tell us about it.
All right, I had a sale and an offer. Basically, I had a 60-month lease, had a buyout yesterday. He bought it out, didn't want to go the whole route after paying for 3 months. So basically, I got the thing from Dan today, said that they had transferred the name and the money's on the way. Haven't got it, but it's on the way. And I had a $1,300 offer this morning on a domain, and I have it listed at $1,900, so I'm just going to counter in the middle and see what happens.
Yeah, those are tough when it's like close enough. It's like, oh, do I risk the counter and the communication issues, or just go yes? And it's always a risk. It's just and when it's
Not
far
that
apart,
far. I can't see him saying no to $300 more, but then again, you never know.
Yeah.
No. So,
Anybody
but
else?
the lease buyout was nice. That was nice. But I didn't like that 60-month stuff. And he had already paid for 3 months too. So that was good.
I still haven't had a single domain sale with payment plans. I offer it all the time, but I use it as a tactic now. They always say, no, I'll just pay it. Like, okay, it's like.
It's interesting. Squad Help is now offering payment plans, some of the hosting, but it's 12 months versus 60. 12 months is a lot nicer. It makes still manageable fees, but it's just a lot shorter time. 60 months, the money gets diluted into nothing.
Well, Dan, you can pick different time frames. They bring it all the way down to 18 months or 12 months, I think it is, and everything. So I did not know that at first, and then I got stuck in a 60-month thing, and it's like, whoa. But anyhow, like he bought it out, so that was good.
You can go as low as 6 months on Squad Help.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, you go on your dashboard, you can select the settings if you want 6, 12, 18, or...
12 months makes for stretched out payments, but still adds up some money. Otherwise, 60 months is just $80 a month. Okay.
I was gonna say, what is it, like 50
for $5,000? I made a sale of $4,800, and I'm getting $80 a month for 60 months. But
guys,
spent on anything but renewals.
Yeah.
Hey, it's Darpan. I'm on today, so
Hey.
I just wanted to share that we're going to be adding some extended options too for the installment plans. We're seeing a lot of demand for extended payment plans. Of course, it doesn't make sense for lower price domains, but for higher priced, I think we'll probably extend that to at least 24 months because there's a lot of customers asking for it.
Last year we sold .co.uk, a small Scottish town, and the buyer came back this week wanting to buy another one of my .co.uk. So last year we sold small town near Glasgow called Mulgai or Mullingaby .co.uk. We sold that for £5,500 sterling. It had the Twitter account with it as well. And the buyer came back wanting to buy the other town that we've got next door, 700. And I went, but it's the same size of population. Why would I sell you it for 700 if you've already paid me £5,500 for the town one next door? So he was turning around and saying, "Oh, I don't have the money," and I was like, "I don't care. It's just one of these things. We'll wait and see where it goes there the next couple of weeks. Maybe come to a compromise." And these were two .co.uk's that we bought off another UK domainer for £35 about 3 years ago. So yeah, quite a nice one.
Yeah. All right. So actually,
Alright, you know what?
Yeah. What? Who's that?
I was going to say, if we want to go the other way with this, I think it may be a good learning experience. So in one of those, I don't know what it's called, the Discord chat, I posted that I got an offer the other week. I'm trying to connect my headphones in case you guys can hear me, because I learned from the domain show no one could hear me well. So I got an offer for $1,500 on icediamond.com, and I put it into the Discord chat, and we got some great feedback and great advice. And one of them was Braden that said, usually when you get an offer, it's about 1/3 of the price that they would normally accept. So my sale price, I think, was like $38.88 or $39.95. So I responded back with the same sales price, and everyone was like, way to go, Jason. He came in with a $1,500 offer, and he stood strong, and he's still staying there. I negotiated my way down. I said, let's do 25. It came through Dan, and I didn't want to pay a commission, and I'm happy to pay a commission, but as a broker and someone who communicates with end users all day, if I'm doing the work, I don't want to have to pay a third party unless I need to go through escrow or, you know, they're more comfortable through whatever platform. So I've come down from $38.88 from his $1,500 offer. And within 2 weeks, I haven't heard a word back from him at 2,000. And he said 1,500 is his final offer. And he owns theicediamond.com. And he said, we'll just go with that.
Is he okay? He's using it though.
No, it's just, if you go there, there's nothing there. It's like a coming soon page.
Yeah. So you never know with the end users, eh? So sometimes
Yeah,
it could be true. It could be true that he's like, okay, he's not really, he's gonna build it maybe. He doesn't know what the difference of having the and not the will actually bring to him. He doesn't understand the value. So for him, it's just, I have $1,500 left in my credit card. That's what I'm prepared to pay. And above that, it's not a question of value. It's a question of what he can afford, you know, which is.
Yeah, no hard feelings. And that's why I wanted to bring it up because, you know, like, you and all these other people are killing it. We're talking about who's made great sales. I wanted to talk about, you know, an offer I had, and now I'm going backwards instead of going upwards, because I think a lot of us domainers face that as well. Like, it's always great to, you know, overcome the uphill battle, but when you're climbing back down the mountain, that doesn't get talked about so much. So,
but it's also a numbers game too, right? Because like depending on the quality of the domain, in my mind, I have different levels of my domains, and there's some of them where like I'll get a, you know, $1,500 offer, $2,000 offer, and I'll be like, well, okay, yeah, it's $2,000, right? But if you do the math and you go no, and you realize that you will lose some sales, but say you say no and you hold off and you get one at 7,000. Well, how many did you lose to get that one at 7,000? If you only lost 2, well, then you're winning overall, right? Because then you would have made 3 sales at $2,000 for 6,000, but instead you made 1 at 7,000. So, but you have to know the quality of your names too to really to get that level, you know?
yeah, no, I wanted to bring it up because I forgot who was talking about it this week, but someone was saying that, you know, during the domain show, you know, a lot of people were talking about opportunity cost, and I don't remember who was discussing it, but they were saying that's not always the way to look at it. But basically, it's all about your business model and your strategy. I mean, so like if you're at a place where the money, like, you know, 1,500 doesn't mean anything, 2,500 doesn't mean anything, or you're at 38, then I think it's a different business model. But when you're trying to get cash flow and you're trying to reinvest, it does make a difference when you can get that sale and how many offers have you had. And I've only had a couple on it. I think it's a great, I wouldn't say, Keith, you could check in with me, not a great brandable, but Ice Diamond is a nice brand. And I bought it from another investor, and I like the name, you know, but at the same time, even if I paid $550, $1,000 at $2,000, the spread is what it is. But what could I do? Like, that's the opportunity cost. What I do afterwards. Am I going to reinvest it into the business? Am I going to buy more names? Is there a name at auction right now for $2,000 that I really want?
No, don't bid on anything.
Be nice, Paige. Be nice.
He could just be trying to price his own name too. He could just be trying to figure out what his name is worth too. If you want 2,000, he figures, maybe he's figuring, okay, maybe I can only get 500 to 1,000 on his name. Maybe not even a jeweler, who knows?
And I did my due diligence, but at the same time, you know, at that price range, it does come down to your opportunity cost. And then what are you going to do beyond that opportunity cost? Are you going to reinvest it? Is there a name that you have lined up? Is there a name at auction? Or are you going to put it into your, you know, bank account waiting for a name to come up? So I think those are all 3 variables that are very different.
It also depends
on
what,
who's discussed it, but
yeah, I remember it too. But it also depends what level you're at as well, because if you're talking 5-figure domains, Well, your sell-through ratio can be 100% depending on your price. You could price it, any one-word domain, you could price it at a point and it will sell. But when you're talking domains like that most of us trade in, the 2word.coms, yeah, sure, we could buy a couple of great other domains, but you also have to factor in the probability of sale, because it's not like get one and we get one, a little bit better, but it's a little bit better, but we still have to divide it by the probability of sale.
I would also interject though, in this case, Jason, I think if you confirm the guy owns the Ice Diamond, then that's not a name. I would raise the price. I would definitely not sell it to him at that price. I'd raise the price. If he doesn't want to make a deal now at what you countered, say, great, thank you, best of luck, raise the price.
He'll be back.
If he's successful at all with whatever he wants to do, he'll be back. Exactly. And I don't love the name myself, but you have a guy who does, and so I would definitely not. There's no need for you to come down on the price. I would stand firm and/or raise the price.
No, and I love that, Amar. Thank you for chiming in, because that's why I kind of brought this up. Like, it's easy. I mean, and listen, we should congratulate everyone on their sales, but going down and facing that is something that I think most of us deal with more than, getting that final offer. So yeah, listen, Amar, I hope he's successful. I hope he builds it out. I hope his budget goes up. But like you said, you don't love the name. And I said I didn't have that many offers on it. So at the end of the day, between that $2,000 and my, $3,500 asking price or $4,000, should I fight him on it? Should I increase the price? Should I sell the name and reinvest it in a name I really do want?
There's no need to fight. There's no need to fight. It's simple. You told him the price. If he's not interested, you just say thank you, best of luck, and then raise the price.
No, but so that you might have missed it. So we were at that price point. I came down. He said he couldn't do 2,500. So I said, okay, well, if you don't want to buy it now from Dan at 2,500, I'm willing to go to 2,000 if you could go through escrow.com and you pay the fees.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So
he said no to that?
No, he hasn't responded. He just.
Oh, okay. Well, so that's what I'm saying. So if he doesn't respond, if he doesn't accept your offer, there's no need for you to keep negotiating against yourself. Just say thank you. And if he's successful with his site, he'll be back. And if not, I don't think you're going to lose money on the name. I just said I don't think it's a great name. It's kind of redundant. That's all. Ice is a diamond. So it's like saying diamond.
I thought Ice Diamond was a type of diamond. Like before I was talking in general, right?
No.
Oh, maybe.
Isn't Ice Diamond a type of diamond?
No.
I think it's
a
just
nickname for a diamond.
Yeah.
It's just they're like synonymous. Like people think like ice and sparkle, but it's not anything. It's just.
But Ice used to be a jewelry website, a huge one. Before they sold it off, it was back in the late 90s. Ice.com was jewelry website. And it was backed by Bill Gross, actually. And then they sold it off and then to whoever owns it now. I think they paid $3 million for it, for the domain. But you're right, it used to be, it's like a nickname for diamonds.
Yeah.
Jason, icediamonds.com is available for sale. So
I'm not throwing any more money at it.
What I'm saying is, go and get the price for Ice Diamonds. If it's twice the price of what you're selling your name for, then you've got a bit of leverage, because you can then turn around and say to the guy, so you're going to pay double, 3 times the amount for icediamonds.com when you can buy my name for this price. And the guy should obviously then see some logic and go, that's a fair price, I'll buy it. So have a look at what
Hey, Jason, can I jump in? Jason, I appreciate you sharing this, because it is a downward move. It isn't, I'm going to do the total leverage point to get him to do what I want no matter what. But I think it's a realistic peek at what we go through sometimes. And sometimes you're like, you know what, I'm going to make it smooth and easy. And, yeah, I may not want to even talk about it at the social because it doesn't make me look like the strongest domainer in the world who never comes down on price. But you get $2,000 for a non-liquid asset that you can't go cash in tomorrow at the casino and just show up with your chips and put them down and say, give me that money again. So I think the idea of, even if it means you're losing face, now you don't want to lose face, but all that factors into it, but it's okay to still do that and get the sale. And I just wanted to say thanks for sharing it, because it wasn't the, oh, this is a time when I really leveraged it to the max and it worked. You know, here it was different, but it was real. So I appreciate you sharing it.
Paige, I'm not suggesting that he hold on to save face. I'm suggesting that as a negotiation, and that he should just, there's no reason to come down on his price at this point yet, right? Like, I think the guy will be a buyer in 3 or 6 months anyway. He's not going anywhere. So if Jason wants some cash flow, what I'm saying is come down on some of your other names, maybe sell some of your other names cheaper than you might otherwise do it, because this one probably will yield fruit down the line. If, you know, again, if the guy's successful and if he's serious.
No, I think you tagged it right on, Amar, which is you went one way, you laid it out there, you're good. Whatever happens in the future, you're good. If he buys it now, you're good. If you're waiting, you're good. And just like you say, now you can go back and look at the whole portfolio. So I think we're right at the same thing.
So, Jason,
so if I could jump in for a sec.
Everybody loves this topic.
Yeah, so I think I tried to talk about this a little bit in my conversation with Paige last week. I think the first thing for most domainers, you need to identify what type of domainer you're going to be. Are you going to be someone that wants to flip, or if you're going to be someone that's going to invest? When you do that, then the decision on moving forward is much easier. So like I said before, this is my second campaign with being in the domain industry. The first time, my whole idea was I had a small, seed money to start with, and my whole idea was trying to grow and expand it and flip as many domains as possible, right? And so if I did have a domain that let's say was worth 10 grand, and I was trying to sell it for 10 grand, and someone's going to offer me 4 and I only purchased it for 1,000, I'm going to sell it. I try to squeeze as much dollars and pennies and dimes as much as I can, but then I would flip it. But like now my whole thing is investing in more quality domains. And even if it wasn't quality, but the perspective now for me is to hold and wait. And so in this particular position for me, I would have waited, but in the past I wouldn't. And I think if you don't have that decision or that mindset beforehand, this is where you get back and forth, and you're not too sure of what to do. And that's just, that's my perspective on things.
Roman, I'm glad you chimed in, because I did listen to your talk and I got a lot of value out of it. So first of all, thank you for that. And anyone who hasn't listened to Roman's talk, they should definitely check it out. But so I think that I have a business model, and for anyone who doesn't, I think this is a mindset for a lot of domain investors, where you get to a point where you could either churn and burn, or you're doing that to maintain a certain, cash flow, but there's that 1 or 2% of your portfolio that you always hold off on, that are, and I wouldn't consider this one of those names, but I didn't buy it at $8. I bought it, whatever, for a couple hundred. So it's still a great sale, and then what I could do now, what I didn't know then, is a different story. But there's always those two mindsets where no matter how far you get in the industry, you're going to have, unless your portfolio is really that solid, which, Mike's touched upon a couple times, where he's got his portfolio down to like 30 core domains. But until you get to that point, you'll always have those names where you can flip, and then there's names you won't even respond to, like certain other investors, like who have the higher value names. I don't need to say their names, but that they get inquiries every day. and they don't want to or need to respond to.
But for you, Ice Diamond isn't. You know, that's my
right. It's not.
Right. It's not. And I can agree with that, because what I was trying to move to is like a hybrid approach, right? You split your portfolio in certain sections, and one, you know, is premium. I'm not going to sell it unless it's the right price. And then the other ones, you're just trying to squeeze as much dollars as you can. And this could be that case. If this, you know, and we talked about it, and we really don't see that much tremendous future value, except for that person trying to build it out, for sure. So if that's something you would want to wait for, that's something that could be okay, that you wait, he blows up, and then he's definitely going to come back to you. But if it's your whole idea of, hey, I can 10x it or 7x it and then jump into 7 other domains, that's something to really think about.
Right.
Jason, I have an idea for you. Tommy brought up a good point about icediamonds.com. If you type it in, it goes to a Uniregistry landing page. There's no price there, but it's listed on GoDaddy's aftermarket. The minimum bid is $35,000. I just put the link here in chat. So I would use this in your negotiations, and if he doesn't buy at your price, I would hold out for a better offer. Even better, I would go to the owner of Ice Diamonds, the plural version, icediamonds.com, and pitch it to him. And you know,
there's probably a domainer, and he'll probably offer me $8.
Jason,
Hey, it doesn't hurt.
into Google, Ice Diamonds, and the first one that came up here in the UK is a hair straightener company who has hair straighteners called Ice Diamonds hair straighteners, right? I know a lot about hair straighteners because we built an e-commerce site for a client here in Glasgow, and within 18 months he turned to $5.5 million. So they're using the name icediamondhair.com. They're the ideal candidate to buy your domain.
Yeah. So listen, guys, I appreciate everyone from chiming in. I've already pitched them, Tommy, and I don't want to sell to another domainer who's going to offer me $1. And then I also don't want to hijack this chat. I just wanted to basically take this in another direction where instead of getting great offers, you know, we've gone from a great opening and had to go down. So I appreciate everyone chiming in, but like RF and Michael, I don't want to take away from the chat.
Oh, it's all good. It's like I like to have a variety of stuff. Actually, Joelle asked earlier on, because there was somebody else, I think it was the 1900 to 1300 meeting in the middle. She was asking, is it usual practice to meet in the middle? And I'll just throw that out to you guys.
Yeah. So someone who negotiates all the time, well, one, I would recommend one of my favorite books, Never Split the Difference. I could give you the author in 1 second. He was a former FBI negotiator.
Chris Voss.
Chris Voss, yeah.
Chris Voss. Okay, so, and I've read almost every negotiation book. From someone who speaks to people all the time, and you know, I don't always deal with the highest value domain, so it's a different type of negotiation. I would say you have to feel out the end user. But my normal tactic is usually my fallback is meeting in the middle. So like you do want to anchor strong, whether you know or not. So you have a position, because from someone who's doing outreach, you can't reach out to someone and not give a price. You can't be like, hey, I have this great domain, make me an offer. You know, so you have to give a price, and you're already at a lower level when you're reaching out. So you have to anchor accordingly.
Yeah. Anybody else?
Yeah, I want to chime in and say, give a little bit different perspective for Jason on this domain, Ice Diamond. I would say it's not really that great a domain name. You know, and I think a couple people have said that, and I think you know that. You know, from a brandable perspective, I mean, maybe it has a special meaning or special value to some particular person in the industry, like maybe this guy owns theicediamond.com and he wants to upgrade. But aside from that, it's kind of just a mediocre brandable. It's a good name, and I would, if I owned it, I would price it $2,000 to $2,500. So for me, you know, if I had you know, an offer in that range, I would take it without any hesitation.
Yeah, I agree.
Next deal.
I want to sell it to him so I could invest in better names and move on to the next one. But I just haven't heard back. Like come down from that 38.88. he stayed solid. I gave him one more tier down. He stayed solid. And I said, okay, well, I can't go to 1,500, but let's do 2,000 if you'll pay the buyer fees at escrow. You know, at the end of the day, you know, he said, I own the Ice Diamond. You want to own your exact match brand? What's $500 more at that level? And, you know, you pay the less than $100 fee and let's go. And then he gets happy, I get happy, and I buy some better names. So I agree.
I don't think you need to do anything except wait.
Yeah.
Because you've made a very reasonable offer. It would be silly for him not to take the offer unless something on his side changes that you're completely unaware of. Like maybe he suddenly finds a better domain, or his wife says, no, we can't afford it, or whatever. You know, you don't know what's going on in his life. So he may just not come back, and you may end up sitting with the domain anyway. But I think there's very little chance of it being because you didn't come down another couple $100 or something.
Okay, well, Amar, you just told me you got something interesting.
Yeah, so I recently got an offer on conducive.com. And so nice one-word.com, but, you know, not a super popular word, but I think it's a powerful word, if you know, good, very brandable. I got an offer of 20K. So that's obviously way too low, in my opinion, at least. So what do people think about valuation on that? It'd be great to hear some thoughts on valuation. I'm looking for north of 6 figures, but you know, but maybe I'm just in love with my own name. I think it's a great name, but what do people think?
What does it mean? I'm sorry.
Conducive?
Yeah.
So it means something that facilitates, makes things easier. So this is an example, right? Maybe why I like the name more than I should. Not everybody knows it. It's a little harder to spell, but again, I think it's a great brand. So, but again,
I think so too. I think conducive is when something is comfortable, easy, as kind of in a sense accessible in a way. Whenever you use the word conducive, it's always positive, never negative. You know, it's always like it's easy for you. It's the right environment, the right place. So I think for spelling wise, I don't think it's that really hard to spell because it starts with a C, that's for sure. So, I mean, if I own that name and I love the name, it's a good name for, again, for consulting business, for example, for maybe investment capital. It can even be a software whereby, you know,
I was also thinking like energy, right? Because correct. Batteries and renewable energy obviously is only going to get bigger. So I view it as a great brand for an energy company.
And the spelling is kind of, you know, universal. So it's the same spelling wherever you go. So there's no two version of it. It's one spelling. That's it. So actually, you know, what you said is true. It's up, you know, 6 figure. I think 20,000 is too low. Yeah, it's less than 10 words. So yeah, I think 20,000 is too low. That's my opinion.
I think your buyer pool. I think your buyer pool is a little bit bigger than that, because conducive also means kind of like to help, to aid something move forward, right? So which I mean,
it's just a very positive name.
Yeah, any software company wants their software to be known as, you know, kind of conducive to helping you do what you need to do. You know, be more productive or whatever it is. I think it's a sleeper name that, you know, you wouldn't think, well, what's the use? But it's like almost any company can use it. I think it's a great name.
Amar, that's CONDUSIVE, right?
CONDUCIVE.
Oh, CIVE.
If it's energy, it's worth a lot more than 20K. That's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, even Estibot has it appraised at 62K, and I think that's very low. And I love the word. I mean, it's could be for consulting business, as Amar said, for an energy business, and I can see it in a maybe low to mid 6-figure range. Most definitely.
Yeah, I think it's just one that you'll have to hold out for, because it's not a common word, right? It's just it's going to be for the right company.
It's definitely
Right,
not
buyer.
a mass consumer name. Definitely not a mass consumer name. It's more of a highfalutin consulting or software educated name.
Yep. I think you're right.
Amar, I went with 350.
350. I think I've been quoting 250. But so we're in the same ballpark, right? So
I think the essence especially after my weekend, if you guys know this or not, but there was a domain show last weekend with some interviews with different people about one-word domain names. But what just came to me when you were talking about it is, think of all the people that are in branding meetings right now, walking around an office trying to come up with a name like Conduciva or Conducer or something that evokes the image of being conducive. And I think this is the next level we have on one-word names. You don't have to spend the money transferring the impression of what conducive means to the word conducive.
Amen.
So the whole trip to brandables to make it be conducive, we're trying to make our brand stand for conducive. We have this one unique thing that is already conducive. And I think that's the level we still have to shoot for, even though it sounds pretty Pollyanna-ish. I think that's where we get with the oneword.coms, is they're better than having to spend a bunch of money to have another word mean conducive when your word already means conducive. So
But as you can see, Josh Reason just said, in his opinion, 75K would be knocking it out of the park. And that's where, it's one of those names I think that people will disagree on, right?
Hey, Amar?
Yes.
Yeah, for what it's worth, Conducive has been trending on, according to Google Trends since 2004, but it peaked back in, looks like mid-2000. The chat.
Yeah, I mean, I'm one of the old timers. I don't look at that stuff as much as I just go kind of based on gut. And I just feel like in my mind, that's for sure a six-figure name. I wouldn't sell it for less than six figures, but again, I may end up holding it till the day I die. And then what good is that? So this is one of those conversations where that's why I brought it up, because I felt like it's not a clear cut, yes, everybody agrees this is a 6 or 7 figure name. It's one that can go, I could see it going for mid-5 and I could see it going for mid-6, which is just a crazy range, but that's how I look at it.
Yeah, I was thinking mid to high 5-figure range myself. I like the name, just doesn't pass the radio test.
Yeah,
I think it does. Conducive does.
I think it does.
It depends on spelling, right?
I didn't know how to spell it. Maybe I'm not too good at spelling.
Yeah.
Or
I mean,
it would be an issue for me.
Yeah. So anyway, thanks guys. Just figured that would be
sharing.
an interesting one to talk about.
Yeah. Definitely an interesting one. That was your name, Amar? Sorry, I was like half listening.
Yeah, that's mine.
All right. Getting back to what we were talking about before with the negotiations, anybody have any other tactics about where they would meet potential offers? We just heard 1 or 2 people. That's a pretty important.
yeah, what if a guy calls you during the domain social and wants to negotiate on a domain name?
Exactly what you did.
Then you get him. You put him on a speakerphone, and we'll help you out.
I was trying to, so you could actually get one side of an actual domain sold.
That poor guy wouldn't know what hit him.
Oh, jeez.
What do you mean?
Because it would be an hour-long conversation with a bunch of chefs in the kitchen.
Hey,
wait! Let's go over to Josh now to hear what he thinks we should do on this domain.
Yeah, that would be funny. Hey, let me tell you, I'm not sure on the price. Let me ask my group here.
Negotiating tactic. Let me put you in a room with 100 other people that think this domain's worth a lot of money, and we'll all counter your offer.
That almost sounds like I'm going to need a third-party appraisal for my appraisal service. Can you please pay $99 for a certificate of appraisal?
The price is right.
How about asking 2,500? He offered 1,200, sold. I went to 2,100. He said 2,000. I said sold.
Congratulations.
You do have to be careful. You don't, what Jason was talking about, his negotiation, you have to be careful that you don't too quickly just say yes, even if you want to take the offer, because I've seen times, for me anyway, that somebody will suddenly get cold feet, like, wow, he said yes, and you almost sense this. He said yes a little too quick. Maybe I offered too much, and they start to figure out some excuse to back off. So even if you want the price, I think you should still put a little bit of friction in there so that they think they're dragging it out.
Yeah, Mike, that's a great point.
I absolutely do that. Like this time when I went to 2,100, I was letting him feel like he could initiate, well, I'll do it for 2,000 and I can do it right now. Then it makes all the impetus on his side. You know what I mean? Where he still feels like he was the actuator, like you said, Mike, not that he threw out 2 and I said sold, and then he might second guess it. I just kind of made it. A lot of times I'll offer like 2,100 or 1,650, knowing that the natural reply is going to be to go to the 1,500 or the 2,500. But if you can catch them when the impetus is theirs, then I've always found you're more likely to have a transaction.
But hold on, guys, Mike and Paige, I'm glad you brought this up, because it's not only at this price point level where this goes on. From someone who sells their own names and brokering, 6-7 figure names, it's not just, it's an ego struggle, whatever you want to call it. It's a power struggle. Even if they're at that threshold, even if you agree, they want to feel that they've won somehow. Even if you're giving them the domain and they've already won, they need to feel like they've won in their battle with you, in their negotiation. So that's why I said before, it depends on how I approach someone. It depends how the conversation's going. Depends how they approach me. But it is also it depends who you're dealing with. But certain people want a power struggle. Certain people just don't want the domain. Certain people want to get the domain.
Jason, do you put a date on these offers? Do you put a date and you say this offer is only available for so-and-so days?
So
and then you follow up with them?
Who was that said that? I'm sorry.
This is Dennis. It's Dennis here, man.
Hey, Dennis. So, you know what? I used to do that, and I still try to feel out the people I do that to. I think so Dennis, what it comes down to is also another basic. I think it comes down to you're giving a hard sell, and I don't think the hard sell used to be or is as effective as it used to be, because people have so many options these days in every industry, and especially in ours, right? Like, even without all the other extensions, like, you could go somewhere else to buy something. You could get the ice diamond. We're fine with the ice diamond. Obviously they want ice diamond, but the hard sell only works on, I would say, like 5% of the people. And you have to really be careful when you do it, because we live in an online world, right? Like the Amazon model, one click away. Like, anyone could buy from anyone else, but Amazon makes it one click less. And how many of us buy from Amazon? So like, I think with the hard sell like that, you really have to be careful, and you have to use it on a select few. I would love to hear if anyone else does that and it works for them all the time, and how many people they discuss domains with. But I would say you have to really be careful with that.
I've been using it myself personally. It's worked really well. And I do agree. Yeah, it is on like a case by case basis. I think especially if it's an inbound lead, you have the leverage because they hit you up, right? So
right. So sorry, hold on,
that,
Dennis.
yeah.
Let me cut you off. So you're 100% right, and I'm talking from someone who does all outbound. So I'm already at a deleveraged position, and to put that hard sell on them afterwards is even harder. So you're 100% right. I mean, from an outbound perspective.
Right on. Yeah, I think every situation is different. I mean, you said it right. Like each one, you just got to feel out the buyer, see how much they're at, see how serious they are. And yeah, I definitely think that, just having some sense of urgency in the price, or maybe, some people play tactics that there's other buyers involved. You don't want to go do that every time, but so many different ways you can go about it.
Right. And I've tried all those. Yeah, we have, not only do we have other buyers, we're going to start outbounding this name, to everyone else in your industry or niche or like whatever.
I did that one
there's
time.
Only so much you could push a hard sell. And
yeah.
They're like, okay, well, good luck. I know everyone in my business. I'm going to call them now.
Yeah.
And it only takes once for that to happen. And then you realize you were wrong, and you can only, pump the brakes so much. So you have to feel, as from the outbound point of view, let me preface, when you're inbounding, you're at a different vantage point. So when you're outbounding, you can't say, oh, you're not interested? Great, I'm just going to contact all your competitors.
Yeah, you don't know who the buyer is a lot of the times if it came through a platform. So how are you going to do that?
It depends on the industry.
Yeah, but
Jason's
all outbound, yeah.
Depends on the industry.
Yeah, but Jason's all outbound, so he knows who he's contacting, so it changes things a lot. So.
Right, and it's not the industry, it's the person. And yeah, you're right. It depends how small the vertical is. But at the end of the day, do you want to burn those bridges? Because I'm doing outbound, right? And if the industry is huge, or if it's small, I want them in my pocket. I want them to say to all their friends and family, this guy got, or they don't even have to mention me. I got this great name. You're not even going to imagine. How did you get it? And then I magically appear in that conversation. Like that goes a lot farther than putting a hard sell on someone you're outbounding, where it may work 5% of the time, where 95% of the time when you're doing outbound work, regardless of the industry, regardless of the vertical, you make them a happy buyer, they're going to make you happy.
Here's the thing. I've been on two different, where, I've gotten emails, obviously I'm in the jewelry industry, and I've gotten emails, come and see how you can promote your website and your business and stuff like that. And both of those, this was the last couple of weeks, both of those, all they're talking about is social media. They're not talking about buying a great domain name. They're not talking about things. As a matter of fact, the question was asked, how about a domain name? And I couldn't believe this. She just said, they've had their purpose. And, it was the early 90s, and late 90s, early 2000s. It doesn't really matter what your domain name is. The second one, which was this past Wednesday, and again, this is the jewelry industry. I don't know if the solar panel industry is the same. I don't know if the car industry is the same. The second one said they didn't even mention a domain names to buy a good domain name. All they're mentioning is this is how we can advertise your business, basically. Facebook, Pinterest, Twitter, stuff like that. So if the industry is being taught this way, then again, this is a joy. I don't know about the other industries, but I have a feeling these marketers are just, they're creating business for themselves, and there's
You're 100% right. But listen, you need to say to them, listen, I get this all day, every day. It doesn't matter the industry, doesn't matter the vertical, doesn't matter their budget. This is what their marketers are telling them. I could send, copy and paste 100 emails into this chat right now, where everyone says, I just spoke to my IT department. I just spoke with my digital marketers. I just spoke with these guys. Domain names don't matter anymore.
How wrong?
So how do you answer that, Eamon?
And here's the thing. Here's the thing.
Wait, don't pour more fuel to the fire.
No, here's the thing. Here's the thing. I've contacted, I have some interesting, domain names for the loan industry, like a few domain names. I mean, I've really priced them under what I think they should be, and I'm just going to start building them out because I'm going to become, I'm going to take my loan broker license because these guys make money hand over foot. But I had one guy call me back. He goes, "Look, we do 100,000 emails a month. I don't need your domain name." They've covered.
But how do you respond?
Can I say
That's what
something?
I'm saying.
Can I say something real quick? Because I think it's important, right?
Yeah.
You can domain names have different impacts on different industries, right? So jewelry, right? When you're going to whatever a marketing summit and they're talking about jewelry, of course they're going to talk about social media because for the jewelry business, it's all about posting on Instagram, getting the right models, using pictures to persuade audiences. It makes sense. But that doesn't necessarily mean that that's the case for all jewelry businesses, right? Like high-end jewelry businesses need to have all of their ducks in a row. And I'm sure Amar can speak to this because I remember that he sold to jewelry businesses for a lot of money recently. I think he sold, I'm not going to say the price or anything because I can't remember where I saw it, but he sold Vry.com to a jewelry business for a good amount of money. And I'm sure
you have to understand that I think that business, they got some backers, including Leonardo DiCaprio. I know the company when it was started by the two girls.
That's what I'm saying.
But what I'm saying, that's why I threw in the loan industry. That's why I threw in the loan industry.
No, but Josh's point is going more higher level.
I
probably
know personally more about the loan industry than anybody on this call because it's where I made all of my money and it's where I've done it's where I have all of my marketing background.
So that was the email I got back. He goes, "We send out all these emails a month." He goes, "Your domain name's not going to help me." I'm like, "Okay, what can I say?"
So it depends. It depends on what part of the loan industry, though. Like it depends on who their target audience is. It depends on who they're trying to be. Like I can be in the loan industry right here in my office as a one-man broker, and I don't care about my domain name because all I'm doing is picking up the phone, or I'm sending out emails, or I'm sending out outbound mail. Right? Even if I did it right now, if I actually wanted to be successful as a broker in the loan industry, I wouldn't care about my domain name because I would execute a different strategy. But if I'm trying to actually scale a brand and scale a business, that becomes different. Like there's different priorities. So
Josh,
maybe we're hitting the wrong people.
No, and that's what it comes down to. Also, first it comes down to targeting. But Josh, that's a great point. And at the end of the day, I talk to a lot of people, and I don't know if I'm talking to Josh every day because they sound a lot like him, but that is their argument. And at the end of the day, if you have nothing to respond, then they're right. Why are you pitching them this name if it's not going to add them value? You have to show them, listen, this is the search volume. This is how many people are advertising. Like you can't pitch a name to someone that gives you that kind of rebuttal and not give them anything back. I mean, you can, but then you just wasted that time.
It could very well be that the person could very well profit from the domain, but just doesn't have the capability to do it. They don't have the education or the knowledge of how to utilize the domain to their advantage, or how to build out,
which goes to my point.
Well, you never know.
Goes to my point. They're being hit hard by the advertising agents where they're all being promoted as they're being promoted at, with the social part and not.
Wait. Let's take a step back, Josh. You were saying with what you know now, if someone pitched you with a domain on that subject, you wouldn't buy it because you're picking up the phone every day, right? You don't need a domain. You're just dialing and making money.
It really depends on what I'm doing, what I'm looking to do with the business. I mean, for me, what I know today, I would spend more than the average person on my domain name because I know just the marginal benefits that I might be able to get, even even from having, you know, a professionally looking email, right? I've said this before, that when I was using brandconsultants.com for my website and for my email address, that gave me like a path into consulting on branding for companies, purely because the domain has like a sense of authority, right? So I understand that, but like you said, like in order to get someone else to understand that, who, you know, who could be in an exact similar situation, just sitting there as a broker, a one-man shop, trying to do deals, and all they're thinking about is, how can I get the next lead? How can I get the next app? How can I get the next contracts in? You know, the last thing they want to hear about is you telling them to spend an extra $2,500 on, you know, changing from domain, you know, Bloom Partners Capital to just Bloom Partners or whatever, you know. It's just not, for them, it's not a priority. But for someone else who's looking to build a business, looking to build a brand and thinking about scaling, and if you can have the right conversation with them, because even the one-man broker, right? Even the one-man broker has aspirations to be something else at some point in time. So you can get them there. You can get them there, but that is by no means an easy sale.
Did you all hear that? Josh, I'm so glad we're having this conversation. That is a pitch. Did you see that? So you have to cater to the person you're selling to from an outbound perspective, like Josh just said. Listen, he said initially, if I'm a one-man show, I don't need this domain. And then look at all the points he just made. Maybe my email could be different. Like, what do you have? Like something, your business name at gmail.com. Point number one. The one-man broker wants to grow and scale. Point number two, like, this is what you need to tell them that are all the reasons they need your domain.
I'll say this. The one thing, and I would say the first main thing that I learned in my sales career when I was picking up the phone and outbounding is that people buy emotionally and justify logically. So like, as soon as you get that little phrase, like, and you fully understand it, sales becomes a lot easier, and it actually makes sense across any industry. They buy emotionally. It's, you know, you got to get them excited, and then afterwards, all of these things like email and stuff, then they can justify it with logic. So,
yeah. If you're passionate about the domain, they will that will also come across, and that will add more bonus points than anything else. So when you're speaking to the person directly, and they can see the passion that you've got in that for that domain name, they will buy it. You know, it's a win-win situation. But same again, as I've always said, if you're there sitting there with the social media accounts, you know, it's a win-win bonus for everybody with regards to that whole industry. You know, so that's what I would do.
If I can add to what Josh just said, you know, I also did sales, and I used to work for Visa, then I worked for an online university. I think sometimes it's hard for you to sell somebody else something if you don't even believe in it. It's like if you work on online university, you don't even have a college degree. How can you tell me to go to college if you don't have a college degree? So I think when it comes to a product, sometimes if you don't believe in it, it's hard for you to even try to like sell somebody else. I saw the domain name through Unit Registry, and I won't say the price, to a Canadian-based company that deals with weed, Iantius, hard to spell word. They were using iantiuscapital.com, and I tried to reach out to them to buy the name for even less amount. They didn't budge. But eventually they realized, as a publicly traded company or going into the US, that they have to have the single word. Yes, Iantius Capital sounds great, but one single word, even better. So even for a small business, it just makes more sense when you have a single word, because sometimes there are some websites you go to or some businesses, they won't even accept your Gmail address or your Yahoo address. That has to be a real email address. So the shorter sometimes the word, even the better. So I think first and foremost, you have to believe in what you try to sell, because if you don't believe it, then it's hard for you to even convince somebody else to buy into what you try to sell.
Ellie, you're 100% right. And now it comes back to what Josh just said. But so you have to listen to what they're saying, but you sell accordingly. So it may not be like they should own both. They should own their longer tail and their shorter tail, because they should buy that one from you. They may already be good with their longer tail, but you have to sell them emotionally. And then, you know, seal the deal logically. It's just everyone is different. Everyone has a different pitch, but if you're doing outbound or even if you're inbound and you're doing negotiations, you need all these tools in your tool chest.
Yeah. Okay, so on that note, it's already 5:17. It's been a great conversation. I'm gonna get to the auctions because I told people that I'd put their names up. Maybe I'll put less in the future because it was a great conversation. I never know what to expect with this. And I've kind of wrote down a few things to sort of standardize the auctions because the last one was great, but we were kind of, we need to talk about this. We need to set this rule. We need to do that. So here, I'm just going to share this. So for the auctions going forward, for the submissions, please send them to info@themainsocial.com. So everything's in one place for me. Put in the title, domain for auction. Again, so I could find it easily. I got tons of emails. Please bring them to me 48 hours before the social begins. To submit a domain, you need to be present at the auction. For each domain, include current registrar, the expiration date, and reserve, if any. If it's not a .com, a .org, or .net, also include the renewal. Priority will be given to no reserve and realistic wholesale reserves. If they're under 40 people in attendance, I'm gonna allow people to withdraw the domains from the auction. So once it starts, the seller will be given 30 seconds, up to 30 seconds to pitch their domain. Ask people prepare in advance and practice a bit. There's no commissions. Sales are really between the buyer and the seller. Okay, we're just here to have more or less to have fun and connect people together. So the Domain Social has no official role in the exchange, but I will always help out, connecting you with emails and stuff like that. Next is for the actual auctions themselves. It's going to be going once, going twice, and sold to Mike G at $30.
Congratulations, Mike. I think you got a great one there.
Good job. Good job. All right, there was two more left, but it was just mine and Paige's. Paige, do you want to do your last one? I'll skip mine for time. No. Okay. All right. So I think going forward, I think maybe 10, 12 domains is what I'll probably limit it to for time. But we did start late. It was a good conversation before. And so on that note, I saw a couple people pitching domains in the chat. I haven't really made a rule yet in that. It's just that I think if we allow it, there'll be like 100 people who do it. So you guys email me this week with your thoughts, or we'll talk about it next week, or we'll talk about it after I turn off the microphones, the recording. So on that note, I wish everybody a great weekend. And you're free to stick around for the after party unrecorded. So cheers to everyone. Thanks again to Mike for everything, and to Paige, and to Jonathan, who had to leave us about an hour ago, but thanks. And Braden is on a vacation. I think he's camping or something. So thanks to him too for helping out during the week a bit. And that's it. So I'll see you guys
Crypto caravan
next week. Yeah. Oh, yes. So yeah, that reminds me, for next week, guys, I'm going to set up MailChimp, but email me at info@themainsocial.com. Especially if you did not get an email from info@themainsocial.com. Mike was great in helping out this week in promoting it to the old list, but I want him to be able to get his rest and not have to rely on him for that. So if you want to be on the email list for future meetings, send an email to info@themainsocial.com. This week I'll set it up on MailChimp, and everything's gonna be good and groovy going forward. So on that note, thanks everyone, and I'll see you all next week. Take care.
Thanks, Arif. Appreciate it.
Yeah. Cheers, everyone.
Thank you.
Good job, Arif. Good job, Paige.
See you later.
See you.